I've heard some of your comments, and I agree. As a parent, I'm deeply frustrated by this minister's intransigence and his complete inability, apparently, to understand how negotiations work. You do not avert a strike by refusing to come to the table. You avert a strike by bargaining a deal with the workers. We are in a position now where the minister is bound and determined to disrupt our kids' education, despite all of his platitudes about difficult times, most epic times in history. He is the one that is disrupting our children's school year by not coming to the table and negotiating a deal. CUPE came to the table yesterday with a counter-proposal, and here's the minister standing here this morning with only 2 days left to ensure that our kids are in school, saying he's not going to negotiate unless CUPE removes the strike from the table. And in the long term, if the minister is not actually prepared to sit down with these workers to make the investments in the system, then it is our kids that are going to pay the price. It is the kids who are already paying the price for the minister's refusal to invest in the system. It is our kids with disabilities and special needs who are being shared one EA to 6 kids. It is the parents who are sitting outside of our schools so that they can make sure that their children with disabilities can use the bathrooms. It is our kindergartners in classes of over 30 kids who aren't getting the support that they need and deserve from ECEs. It is the principals and the teachers who are having to fill in for custodians who aren't there. We need the minister to come to the table with a deal that is going to ensure that our kids have the caring adults and the fundamental supports that they need and deserve every single day. Happy to take your questions.
When did you guys decide to pull that stunt in that question period?
I'm sorry, stunt? We were standing up for the rights of our kids and our workers, and the government is not listening, and we are doing our best to make sure that the government has to listen.
Are you hearing anything from unions about what could happen after Friday?
No, and I don't want to speculate on what could happen after Friday because we still have 2 days now to avert any kind of disruption to our kids' school year, to the lives of their parents who are just trying to do their best, to the lives of our education workers. Clock's ticking. Let's get this done and protect the school year.
Do you believe the federal government should intervene?
I think that if this government is going to continue with its intransigence in trying to trample on labor rights and take away fundamental supports from our kids, that all tools should be on the table. But, you know, I don't want it to come to that point. I want the government to withdraw this legislation, come to the table, and negotiate a fair deal.
So should the government do what the NDP did when it was in government and offer unpaid furloughs to unionized workers that wasn't in collective bargaining contracts? I mean, there was extraordinary times in 1992 when Bob Rae was premier. It's apparently extraordinary times now. I'm trying to circle the square. Isn't it easier to say in opposition, oh, the government's being draconian, but when you're in government, you actually have to resort to kind of difficult choices?
I mean, I was a school child during the Bob Rae government, so I can't really answer for their policies. But, you know, what will actually address the situation is to make investments in the system to make sure that our workers can actually afford to continue to do these jobs so that we don't do to the education system what the government has already done to the healthcare system, driving workers out of the system and bringing the system to the brink of collapse.
So can we expect more of this in the days to come, or are you guys going to get kicked out every day of the Ontario legislature? I mean, there's only 1 day left in the week, but...
We will be doing everything we can to amplify the voices of workers, kids, and parents so that the government cannot ignore them in this important debate. I have a guest with me today that I would like to bring up a moment. It's Karen Littlewood, who is the president of OSSTF.
Okay, we've been listening to Chandra Pasma. She is the NDP education critic, effectively kind of responding to what Education Minister Stephen Lecce just finished saying. The NDP position is that the Progressive Conservatives, with Minister Lecce at the head of the table, should be bargaining a deal, must sit down with the meeting, saying that they want the government to withdraw that back-to-work legislation. Yeah.